All right, let's get right into it. Today, we're going to crack the code on one of the most common, and honestly, one of the most confusing error codes you might see pop up on your dashboard, U0402. We're going to dive in and figure out exactly what your car is trying to tell you.
So, there it is. That dreaded check engine light flicks on. You grab your scanner, you plug it in, and it spits out U0402. I know, it sounds super cryptic, right? But here's the good news. This isn't nearly as scary as it sounds. We're going to break down exactly what that code means and, more importantly, how you can approach fixing it step by step.
So what's really going on here? Well, at its absolute core, this code is all about a communication breakdown. It's not necessarily pointing a finger at one single broken part. Instead, it's telling you there's a problem in how two really important parts of your car are talking to each other.
See, your car isn't just one big machine anymore. It's got a bunch of different computers all working together. The main one, the big boss, is the engine control module, or ECM. That's the brain of the whole operation. But your transmission has its own brain, called the transmission control module, or TCM. So a U040 code simply means the main brain, the ECM, is listening to the transmission brain, and the message it's getting is, well, it's garbled, it's nonsensical, or it's just plain wrong. Here's a great way to think about it. Picture your car's computers as a team of highly trained specialists. You've got the engine specialist, who needs clear, accurate information from the transmission specialist to do its job right. But if those messages get corrupted or they're incomplete, the engine specialist basically throws its hands up and says, "Whoa, I can't work with this." And that's your U0402 code. It's a red flag saying, hey, these two aren't on the same page.
All right, so if that's the what, let's talk about the why. How does this communication breakdown actually happen? We're going to start with the most common and, thankfully, the simplest causes before we get into the more complicated stuff. Now, before your mind starts racing to expensive repairs, stop. Seriously, always start right here. These computer modules need a steady, clean supply of power to talk to each other properly. Something as simple as a weak battery, a tiny blown fuse that might be labeled TCM, a bad ground wire, or even just a little bit of green, crusty corrosion on a connector can easily mess up the whole conversation.
And this really hammers the point home. Low voltage is a massive cause of these kinds of communication errors. So before you do anything else, check your battery. Think about it. Your modern car is basically a rolling computer network. Just like your Wi-Fi at home gets all flaky when the power flickers, your car's modules can't talk if the voltage isn't stable. A quick battery test could save you a world of time and trouble.
Okay, so what if you've checked all the simple stuff and it all looks good? Well, now we can start to look at these possibilities. It's possible you've got damaged wiring in what's called the CAN bus. That's the car's data network. Or maybe a sensor inside the transmission has gone bad and is feeding garbage data to the TCM. Sometimes it's just a software bug that the dealership needs to update. And yes, in some cases, the TCM module itself could be the problem. Or, much more rarely, the main ECM.
So a communication error sounds kind of abstract, doesn't it? But what does it actually feel like when you're behind the wheel? Let's talk about the symptoms you're probably noticing.
Well, obviously, that check engine light is your number one clue, but don't be surprised if other lights pop up too, like for the transmission, ABS, or traction control, since all those systems are interconnected. The most obvious symptoms, though, are going to be with your transmission. We're talking clunky, hard shifts, or a scary delay when you shift from park to drive. Your car might even protect itself by going into limp mode, where it gets stuck in one gear, usually second or third. It's doing that because the engine just doesn't trust the info it's getting from the transmission anymore.
Okay, so you get the what and the why. Now for the really important part, the how. How do you actually figure this out? This isn't just a random list of parts to replace. Think of it as a logical roadmap to find the real source of the problem.
First things first, see if that U0402 code brought any friends along. Other codes can give you huge clues. Next, like we said, test that battery and the charging system. After that, just use your eyes. Do a careful visual inspection of the wiring. Look for anything that's frayed, corroded, or just plain loose. If you're comfortable with a multimeter, you can check the health of the communication network itself. You're looking for a reading around 60 ohms. And last but not least, don't forget that sometimes the fix is just a simple software update from the dealer.
Whew, okay, we've covered a lot of ground, from simple fuses to complex computer networks. So let's just boil all this down to the single most important thing you need to take away from all this.
Here it is. The main thing to remember is this. Don't jump to the worst-case scenario. A U0402 code is a symptom of a communication problem, and your job is to be a detective, not just a part swapper. You have to follow the evidence.
Start with the easy, common culprits first, the power supply and the physical connections. I'm telling you, more often than not, the solution is way simpler than you think.
And that really leaves us with a final thought, doesn't it? This U0402 code is a perfect snapshot of how complex modern cars have become. It's not just about wrenches and spark plugs anymore, it's about networking and data. So, as our cars get smarter and more connected, is making sure all those computers can talk to each other without any glitches becoming the single biggest engineering challenge of all? It's something to think about. Thanks for watching.